in theater, an actor is not the character, but an actor is not the character also. So it's not true, it really isn't true. When you're a director and you're talking to somebody and you're playing, let's say, Henry V, I may say, hey, Henry V, why don't you? No, I say, John, when you're in this scene and you're saying the St. Crispin's Day speech, I'd like you to, say it with a little more enthusiasm. I don't say, hey, Henry, when you're saying your talk, I mean, unless I'm a nuts director, I mean, I don't do it anyway. I will call you John, you're John. Right. I don't call you Henry. But I know that you're doing Henry. And when you get up there and speak, you're going to say, those who've been there, St. Crispin's Day speech about heroism, you'll remember this day and all. You're going to be speaking as Henry. But I also know that the spectator knows you're not Henry. Henry's back in the 15th century. You're here, et cetera, et cetera. They paid money to see John Dawsey play Henry V, et cetera, et cetera. So it became, maybe it was a flash, maybe it was just a lamination. You're not Henry V, but you are not. You are also Henry. The first saying was that you are not, but you are. But that didn't strike me as a powerful idea. So being contrary, being Richard in this, I thought not and not, because I like mathematics, 1 times 1 equals 1, but -1 times -1 also equals 1. -2 times -2 equals 4. That's always amazed me. -2 times +2 equals -4. And +2 times +2 equals 4, but -2 times -2 equals 4. Now the logic of it is that a minus cancels out itself. So you can eliminate the minus there and you get the positive. All right, that's arithmetic or algebra. But I felt that that's conceptually true also, that these two negatives working against each other yield for the audience a positive experience, the experience of seeing Henry V. But it also gives to the actor the freedom to interpret Henry, to become Henry in many different ways. If the actor really is Henry, then they're chained in. And like Pirandello wrote a great play about this called Henry V, I think, or Henry VI or something. Not the 6 characters in search, but the other one in which the actor really thought he was the character and how this was, he was nuts. And we do have certain accounts in film history where actors get locked into characters, like Bela Lugosi as Dracula, But it ruined his life. He complained that he could never get other roles because they only saw him as Dracula because he had this Hungarian accent and he couldn't get rid of it. So he was Dracula in a positive people's imagination, but that was so limiting. So he wasn't so much not Dracula and not Dracula, he was Dracula. And whenever people think, at least North Americans think of Dracula, you think of these accents, I never drink wine, and the movies of this particular figure.
Do that in Brazil too.
Yeah, probably had no historic relationship to the real Count Dracula, but it was this actor. All right. So then the freedom that a double negative gives you of not making a final choice, that it's a profoundly processual formula. To not and not it means not for the first time, not but only for the second time. It just is. The three most important parts of that theory are that the future creates the past. That's the idea that what I want to do tomorrow determines what I reconstruct or restore from yesterday to play today. The future creates the past. That nothing is ever done for the first time. It's from the second to the nth time. And that everything that's done exists in the field between not and not. Those are the three contributions of that essay. And it's a theory that is not simply about performance in anthropology, but it's really a theory of human behavior and it's an epistemological theory of human knowledge and an experiential theory, that we are doing this interview, but it's not for the first time. Or It is, this particular constellation of it is for the first time. But the language we use, the grammar we use, the equipment we use, the words we use, the ideas we begin to play with, all of them are restored behaviors, you see? And we're selecting what we're doing from my past and from your past, doing it today in service of this future project, which will be this film or whatever you're going to make from it. So it's everything is restored behavior in that regard. And then the Neti story, which before I developed this theory, I had read while I was living in South India in 1976. I was reading some of the Vedas, and this may be from a Veda or it may be from an Upanishad. Now, it's not super important that we know the difference. The Veda, the four ancient Rig Veda, Artha Veda, Sam Veda, and one other Veda, the basic Hindu texts. Yajur Veda is the fourth one. And they have different ranges of knowledge. And then the Upanishads are also sacred texts. There are more of them, and they are more narrative, and I think probably this is an Upanishad and not a Veda, of the student who goes to the teacher, called a guru in India, and he says, Guruji, please tell me, is the fundamental structure of the universe material? And the teacher says, neti, not that, not that. Now, they're not in the habit of answering, so just a neti. So the student thinks for a while and says, well, is the essence of the world spiritual? And the teacher says, neti, neti. And then the students, well, is the essence of the universe the idea of God? And neti, neti. And it goes on through a whole list of possibilities of what is the essence and the core of the universe. And every time he gets the answer, neti, neti, not that, not that. And finally, the student has the illumination that neti is the answer, that the essence of the universe is not that the not that is what the universe is. This is so contemporary for Higgs bosons that were just supposedly discovered, which is the core of what dark matter is, the not of the universe, the matter that we cannot directly observe, but know only because of its effects, the negativity of that. And also, I was very affected by Keats's poem where he talks about negative capability. Keats, not a poem, maybe it's an essay, writes that Shakespeare is so great because he has a negative capability. What did Keats mean? Keats said in this essay, Shakespeare has the ability to become anyone, therefore he is no one. If he had a personality, he could not be all these other personalities. So his capability is negative. It's a negative capacity. He has not capability. Keats says, Shakespeare has a negative capacity. It's so brilliant. So it's this, and it relates to my attraction to Buddhist thought of emptiness, present-centeredness, start from the beginning, point zero, or, all of these are scientific ideas. They're mystical ideas, of course, but they're mystical ideas that appeal to me because they reduce things to zero. Now, I've just done this piece called Imagining O, and in it I talk about zero. Yeah. And what is zero? Zero is nothing, but it's the multiplier. You put, okay, so here, we'll do a little thing. We'll use the notebook. So zero, let's do this. So zero is nothing. Yeah. Okay. Now, what is that? That's 10. And what's that? That's 100. And what's that? That's 1,000. And what's that? That's 10,000. Zero. So nothing, when added to a 1 or any other number, is a multiplier. It's by a factor of 10. But nothing becomes everything. And this whole thing, you should point this over here to this lovely computer. This whole thing is a system of ones and zeros. That's all it has. Yeah. ones and zeros, and how to arrange them and how to program them is everything that's in that chip. And if we develop more advanced chips, I'm sure that'll be whatever else it'll have zero. So that much I'll predict. And if we go to super mysticism, whatever else God must be, it must be zero. If God has anything beyond zero, then it's already been created. So, so all of this, so it's not just me, but there's a huge amount of mystical and I think very powerful thought around zero.